Some people think that karma is a weird Buddhist belief, and others think that it is a learning experience. I believe that karma is what makes the world go around. I believe that karma is the reason for all good and all bad, but most of all, I believe in the power of karma. When I was younger, I often visited my grandmother's house, who lived in downtown Columbus. My grandmother's neighborhood was a bit on the rough side. I have always lived in the suburbs, so taking a trip to my grandmother's house was always interesting because I would encounter things there I couldn't get at home. The thing that always amazed me was the number of homeless people who lived near my grandmother. I didn't understand at the time why or how people could live that way. My grandmother would take me on walks around the neighborhood and often under the overpasses where many homeless people lived. Oftentimes, we would go and she would talk to some of them. I would always be afraid, but I admired my grandmother for reaching out to others. I was amazed how she could make people feel. There was one woman named Rose who we would see on all of our walks. My grandmother scolded me for never talking to her, but I was legitimately scared because my mother had filled my head with all these negative thoughts about homeless people. She made me afraid of talking to people that I did not understand. My grandmother tried to discourage my mother's thoughts by trying to encourage me to talk to Rose and see how she was on the inside. I finally developed the courage to talk to Rose when my grandmother came up with this great idea. Rose did not have any food, so my grandmother thought it would be a good gesture to take her a bag of food. My grandmother told me to give her the food and see how she reacted. If her reaction did not change how I felt, I didn't have to talk to her anymore. When my grandmother took me to see Rose, I handed her the bag of food, and the reaction she gave made my whole day. I have never seen a woman so grateful for something that I always take for granted. It felt amazing that I could help another human in such a small way. I felt like I was making a difference in Rose's life, and I knew my grandmother did too.